Good evening. You're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Chloe Feng. Here's a look at tonight's top stories. Chinese University vice-chancellor Rocky Tuan comes under fire as legislators discuss a proposal to revamp the institution's governance. Former U.S. President Donald Trump denies plotting to overturn the result of the 2020 election. And Beijing's ties with Canberra look set to become warmer as China ends tariffs on Australian barley. Chinese university officials have continued to face the music from lawmakers over a proposal to revamp the school's governance. Many legislators were upset that Vice-Chancellor Rocky Tuan was once again missing. Remy Young reports.
A private member's bill to revamp Chinese universities' governing council is becoming increasingly political. The three lawmakers who sponsored the bill insisted that reform is long due, but more than 1,000 alumni felt they had been sidelined and that the trio were trying to force through the changes. Among those who signed a petition was Eric Ng, the university's vice president. He has since been accused of failing to remain neutral on the matter, since he's also the council's secretary. For the third consecutive week, lawmakers discussed the controversial proposal. The session got off to a fiery start after committee chairwoman Priscilla Leung learned that University Vice-Chancellor Rocky Tuan was once again absent. In response, University Council Chairman John Chai said he was notified on Tuesday that Tuan would be on sick leave today. Lawmaker Peter Kuhn was upset by the explanation. Your governance is worse than that of a kindergarten, he told the school's officials. After 2.5 hours, Leung declared that the Bills Committee has completed its work. The bill will now be scheduled for a second and third reading. If passed, the University Council will see its membership shrink to 34 from the current 55. There will be 2 external members for each internal one, compared to the current 50-50 split, while 3 more members will be directly appointed by the chief executive. Future vice-chancellor appointments must also be put to a vote in the council and endorsed by 3/4 of the members. Raymond Yang, HKIBC.
Labour Chief Chris Sun says he will ask to meet the Indonesian Consul General to oppose a plan which will bump up the cost of hiring domestic helpers. His response came after Indonesian authorities proposed offloading training and other fees now levied on migrant workers onto employers. Sun insisted the ASEAN government's position is that any new rules should not only target Hong Kong. Reports suggested Taiwan and Singapore scuttled previous attempts by Jakarta to impose the levy. Sun added that in the long run, the government will consider bringing in more helpers from other countries such as Cambodia and Bangladesh. A music festival which promises a wet experience for participants kicks off in Central tomorrow. But if you prefer to sit back and enjoy the sea view, how about hopping onto Asia's largest cruise liner, which is returning to Hong Kong? Remy Young tells us more.
In a blow to the tourism industry, Royal Caribbean withdrew its vessels from Hong Kong last year after becoming disgruntled with the government's stringent COVID rules. But more than a year since calling Singapore home, Spectrum of the Seas is back in the city. The ship is a sight to behold, with 16 floors, more than 2,000 rooms, and a capacity of 5,600 passengers. It claims to offer an experience that is second to none. The largest cruise liner to operate in Asia will make several port calls at Kai Tak this year, bringing much-needed tourists to the facility, which has been deserted since the onset of COVID.
We have so far secured the return of 18 cruise lines and over 160 ship calls this year, representing 76% of 2019. And a few more cruise lines are anticipated to return next year.
Those who are making early holiday plans for next year should take note, as 7 voyages from Hong Kong have been scheduled around Christmas. If that sounds too far-fetched, how about making a splash at Central Harbourfront this weekend? For the first time ever, the S2O Songkran Music Festival is coming to town. Originating in Thailand, the outdoor music party incorporates the famous water festival from Southeast Asia, with DJ performances and live bands.
We've actually had people in Hong Kong asking us for many years now about doing S2O in Hong Kong, and we've never found an appropriate way to do it until now, after the pandemic.
Admission for the 2-day event costs up to $3,380, but 90% of the tickets have already been snapped up. Away from Victoria Harbour, Financial Secretary Paul Chan kicked off the latest Happy Hong Kong Bazaar at the Science Park. Unlike the concert in Central, the family-friendly carnival features workshops and exhibitions showcasing cutting-edge technology and innovation. The fair lasts for 10 days, and festival admission is free of charge. Raymond Young, HKIBC.
Former windsurfer Sam Wong has been confirmed as Hong Kong's sports Tsar. As sports commissioner, the 58-year-old will be responsible for promoting sports for all and boost Hong Kong as a center for major international events. Wong has wide experience in the field, having represented the city in the Olympics, Asian Games, and the World Windsurfing Championships. Last year, he was appointed executive director of the Hong Kong Table Tennis Association. Wong takes up his new post later this month, succeeding Young Tak Keung, who retired last year. Overseas, former U.S. President Donald Trump has pleaded not guilty to charges of plotting to overturn the result of the 2020 election. He described the allegations as ridiculous, saying they are an attempt to stop him from running in the next year's election. Azam Khan reports.
Former President Donald Trump left a federal courthouse in the U.S. capital, Washington, after denying that he tried to overturn the result of the 2020 election, which he lost, and the subsequent riot at the U.S. Capitol on January 6th, the following year. U.S. prosecutors had slapped 4 federal charges against the 77-year-old Republican. Trump, however, believes that his opponents are trying to stop him from running for the White House next year.
This is a very sad day for America, and it was also very sad driving through Washington, D.C. and seeing the filth and the decay and all of the broken buildings and walls and the graffiti. This is the persecution of the person that's leading by very, very substantial numbers in the Republican primary and leading Biden by a lot. So if you can't beat him, you persecute him or you prosecute him.
The next hearing has been set for the 28th of this month, just days after the first debate in the 2024 Republican presidential primary. It's the 3rd criminal indictment against Trump this year. In March, he pleaded not guilty to making hush payments in the lead-up to the 2016 election, and he was also charged with mishandling classified documents. Experts say the latest charges could be his biggest hurdle yet because of the gravity of the events that took place. Azam Khan, HKIBC.
At least 8 people have been killed in a collision between a train and a pickup truck in eastern Thailand. The truck was carrying workers to a fish farm at around 2 this morning local time. The driver said he heard a freight train approaching as he was heading towards a railway crossing. But the workers urged him not to stop. However, he was unable to cross in time, and the train slammed into the back of the truck. 8 workers were killed and 4 injured. Canberra has welcomed Beijing's decision to remove anti-dumping tariffs on Australian barley from tomorrow.
That our barley growers and our exporters will now be able to re-enter tariff-free the Chinese market. It's another very positive step in the full resumption of normal trade between Australia and China. China's removal of duty on barley means Australia will now discontinue legal proceedings at the WTO in respect of barley.
Australia used to export $1 billion worth of barley to China each year, but their trade relations soured in 2020 after Australia's previous government called for a probe into the origins of COVID. Canberra now hopes that Beijing will remove restrictions on wine, meat and lobsters. Warmer ties could pave the way for Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese to visit Beijing later this year. Tech giant Apple has posted its third consecutive quarterly decline in revenue for the first time in 7 years. But there were bright spots, with its services unit breaking a record, while revenue from China exceeded expectations.
Apple reported a third straight quarter of declining sales, while forecasting a similar performance this quarter, as demand for smartphones, computers, and digital tablets declines worldwide. In the past quarter, revenue of the world's most valuable company fell 1.4% year-on-year to $81.8 billion. It was still above Wall Street estimates and was helped by services sales, which rose 8% to an all-time high of $21.2 billion. The segment includes Apple Music and Apple TV+. But sales of iPhones, Apple's biggest moneymaker, slipped 2% to $39.7 billion. One bright spot was a surprising 8% jump in Greater China revenue to a record high of $15.7 billion. That growth was boosted by users upgrading their models, despite China's sputtering economy. But Apple chief executive has his eyes on India.
We did hit a June quarter revenue record in India, and we grew strong double digits. And where I'm really pleased with our growth there, we still have a very, very modest and low share in the smartphone market. And so I think that it's a huge opportunity for us, and we're putting all of our energies in making that occur.
Cook disclosed that Apple has been researching generative AI technology for years, as research and development spending rose by an annual 10% to $22.6 billion last quarter. But with iPad sales slumping nearly 20% and Mac revenue down 7%, Apple signaled that it could face the longest streak of declines in 2 decades.
And now let's take a look at the markets. The Hang Seng Index closed up 118 points. Top 10 active stocks, tracker found up 14 cents, Tencent up $1.20, and Alibaba up $2. Meituan up $3.80, AIA down $1.25, Kuaishou up $1.85. Forex trading against Hong Kong dollar, the euro is at 8.54, British pound at 9.91, and Australian dollar at 5.11. Moving on to the UK market, the London FTSE is currently down 39 points. And on to the weather now. There will be showers and thunderstorms tomorrow morning before it becomes hotter. Temperatures will range between 27 and 33 degrees, remaining hot in the week ahead. And that is our main news for Friday night. Join us for more news at 11. I'm Chloe Feng. Thank you for watching. Good evening.